In Upper Egypt or Mizraim, as it is known in the Bible, the vulture or eagle picture used to symbolize the goddess Nekhabat in the city of Nekhanne during pre-dynastic Egypt in 3200 BC, to which scholars assigned the A letter or sound. In Egyptian Arabic, an eagle is al-Nisr, while a vulture is Rakhama. In Amharic, an eagle is also Nisr, but without the prefix al, while a vulture is Tambansa. But there is a mutual Amharic word for all birds of prey, Amora. Curiously, in Amharic, the word Nekhabat literally gives a meaning of come from first house or touched first house or come from rich. Scholars say in ancient Egypt the eagle or vulture was considered as protector of the pharaoh. Her wings always appeared as a sign of protection. The goddess Nekhabat in hieroglyphics is written as a running water, an atmosphere, a cut-off lake, a seedling, a loaf of bread, and a vulture. When transliterated, it says Nekhabeshet Amere, which literally gives a meaning of come from first by seedling, Amere, Tenne, God, I, person, or come from Habeshete Amere, or come from Habeshete Tenne. Also, the earliest surviving records of the Egyptian goddess Maat or Mayet during the Old Kingdom in 2375 BC or 2345 BC respectively is depicted as a woman with wings and a personification of truth and justice, daughter of the sun god Ra. In Amharic, Ma'at or Mayet means rage of God or catastrophe or plenty or to see, while literally the words could mean mother you or mother where or mother so, respectively. Curiously, the Hebrew Bible, the book of Genesis, verse 120 to 21 says, when a person dies, his soul develops a wing to fly to God. Also, curiously, the Amara people of Ethiopia shoulder dance known as skista is similar with the motion of a bird flying or an eagle flying, though some say the dance is to imitate the motion of a snake. In the Old and New Testament, a baffling word, ak, appears repeatedly as part of a word or by itself. For example, on the book of Genesis chapter 2, it appears repeatedly. Curiously, a word, mela'akatawe, which incorporates the word ak, appears on Genesis verse 2:2, which talks about the seventh day God rested after he created the world and man. There are also other biblical words that incorporates the word ak, like ma'akala, akalakama, akala, akka, or akalata. When the words are translated, they give the following meanings in Amharic. Mala'akatawa means angels, yes, or whole akka or fil akka. Mala'aka means mother inserted or middle. Akalakama means body with mother, or akka saint, or akka measure, or akka correct. Akala means add up, or righteous, or became adequate. Akka means thigh muscle. Akalata means body part. Curiously, the word akka also appears as part of kings' names in ancient Egypt and Ethiopia. Ancient Egyptian kings used to have 5 names, which scholars say are a bird's name in hieroglyphs, a duck and a sun, a sarakaha or horse name in hieroglyphics, a falcon besides or on top of a palace facade, or just a falcon. A golden horse name in hieroglyphics, a falcon and a gold sign. A Nabati name in hieroglyphs, a vulture on a drum and a snake on a drum. And finally, a throne name in hieroglyphics, a seedling on a loaf of bread, and a bee on a loaf of bread encircled within a shinu or cartouche. The throne name started in the first dynasty during Pharaoh Den in 2970 BC, written within a cartouche, while the Nabati name was also started in the first dynasty, but during Pharaoh Samarkand, written without a cartouche. Some scholars say the hieroglyphs for the throne name might have represented the bird's name rather than the throne name. In this video, I will focus on the so-called throne name and Nabati name of ancient Egypt. Therefore, what does the vulture and the snake on a drum symbolizes in the so-called Nabati name, and the seedling and the bee on a loaf of bread represents or symbolizes in the throne name? If we transliterate the symbols by the letters they represent, as per scholars' assumption, the Nakahabata and the Wajat symbols, which scholars call the Nabati name in hieroglyphics, as I said, a vulture, a snake, and two drums. In Amharic, it says Akafaka or Afakaka, which gives a literal meaning of Taimason or father from, or scratch father, or mouse from, or mouse crash, or mouse star. If we transliterate the symbols by the Amharic words or names they are called, the meaning of the symbols becomes very clear. Like I said, a vulture in Amharic is Tambansa, but when the words are transliterated without vowel, Tanaba Anasa, it literally gives a meaning of Tanna or God by I person. Without vowel, it means Tanna, God, by I person, or Ifraid, I person. But if we take the mutual name for all birds of prey in Amharic, Amora, then it gives a meaning of time ra, or mother ra, or became good looking or desire. While a snake in Amharic is Ibab, without vowel it is Ababa, which literally gives a meaning of to blossom or father by. Lastly, when we come to the drums, in Amharic a drum is kabaro. Without vowel it becomes kabara, which gives a literal meaning of to be honored or to encircle ra. In total, the vulture and snake on a drum symbol gives a literal meaning of Tanna, God, by I person, father, by encircled ra, or Amara, God, by I person, blossomed, honored. Therefore, the so-called Nabati name is an order given on the date the person was declared a king and ordered to encircle the king's name in a cartouche or a shinu, which fits with the fact that ancient Egyptian kings wore a crown with a vulture and a snake symbol on it, and we find, in my opinion, queens' names instead of king names encircled within a cartouche known as Shinu. Therefore, the Nabati name should have been called the throne name, and the title of ancient Egyptian kings was known as Akka or Akafaka or Afakaka. Curiously, the ancient cities of Akkad in the Middle East and Aksum in Ethiopia might also seems to have come from this ancient Egyptian root word Akka. When we come to the hieroglyphic symbol, which scholars say is the throne name, a seedling, a bee, and 2 loaves of bread is transliterated as per scholars' assigned letters to the Egyptian hieroglyphic symbols. It says Shetete Nebete or Shenetete or Shete Nebetete, which in Amharic gives a literal meaning of seedling come house or seedling be from or Shene house or Shinu house. The word Nabati in Amharic gives a literal meaning of be lady or come house. Therefore, in my opinion, Nabati might be the title of ancient Egyptian queens enclosed within a Shinu or a cartouche. When the hieroglyphic symbol of the cartouche known as Shinu is transliterated into Amharic, it says Sheba or Sheba. Following this theory, I could only find 8 pharaohs whose throne names starts with the word or title Akka. From the 14th dynasty, Pharaoh Akare. From the 18th dynasty, Pharaoh Thutmose I, whose throne name is Akhaperekare. Then Thutmose II, whose throne name is Akhaperenere, and his wife Hatshepsut, and Amenhotep II, whose throne name is Akhaperure. From the 20th dynasty, Ramses V, the 8th, whose throne name is Akhanemun. And from the 21st dynasty, Pasaba Kahanut, whose throne name is Akhaperer. And and Osokron the Elder, whose throne name is Akhaperer Seta Penera. From the 22nd dynasty, Sheshonq V, his throne name Akhaperere. We can take, for example, Thutmose I and his throne name Akhaperekare, whose throne hieroglyphs shows a sun, a chisel, a beetle, and a raised up hand. When we transliterate it, it says Ramera Kahaferha or Samera Kahaferha. But scholars transliterated it as saying Kahapere Kare. Kaha, not Kaha, Akaha Pere Kare. But when we transliterate it as per the letters given by the scholars, it rather says Ramera Kahaferha or Samera Kahaferha. While his Nabati name in hieroglyphics shows a vulture on a drum, a snake on a drum, an owl, a mouse with a loaf of bread, 2-headed arrow spear, a mouse, a loaf of bread, a chisel, and 2 female lion heads. When we transliterated it, it says Akka or Akafaka or Afakaka, Mekha Nesere Temere Bese. But scholars transliterated it as saying Kaha Menesere Tea Pechtei. 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 And we can take a second example also. Amenhotep II. His throne name Akha Perure, whose throne name in hieroglyphics shows a sun, a chisel, and a beetle. And when it is transliterated, as per scholars' later representation, it rather says Ramereha, Ramereha. But scholars named it or transliterated it as Akha Perure, while his Nebeti name in hieroglyphics shows a vulture on a drum, a snake on a drum, two symbols of a mouse with a loaf of bread, an owl, a leaf, a square, a loaf of bread, a throne seat, a loaf of bread, and an atmosphere. When transliterated, it says Aka or Akafaka or Afakaka Kaha Kaha Me Yefeta Ka Takaha. But scholars transliterated it as saying Kaha Kahawe Empetsut. Therefore, in my opinion, the name scholars say is a throne name should be the Nebeti name, while the name scholars say is a Nebeti name should be the throne name. So, ancient Egyptian king's title or the so-called Nebeti name was Aka or Akafaka or Afakaka, while the so-called throne name enclosed within a cartouche known as Shinu was of ancient Egyptian queen's name or ancient Sheba queen's name. Also, in my opinion, ancient Egyptians spoke Amharic or at least a Semitic language, and the originators of ancient Egyptian civilization were the Amhara people of Ethiopia. Otherwise, why would all the hieroglyphic symbols give the same meaning given by scholars and make sense when they are transliterated into Amharic? Sadly, we Ethiopians were made to forget our history, which in ancient time was known as the Kingdom of Sheba, whose boundary started from current-day Egypt to current-day Ethiopia. So what do you think? Please comment, subscribe, and like.